This is the all-new Ride1Up REVV. This is going to be an early access video for you guys to be able to get a good understanding of what this bike is capable of. Is it going to be able to take the reins from Super 73 and Ariel rider when it comes to performance, power, and price? Well, we're going to be able to talk a lot about that today because I'm going to be able to going over every spec that this bike has to offer. Now, this is the full suspension model. There is going to be some differences between the hardtail and the full suspension, which we'll talk about later in the video. But without further ado, let's get on the trail right now and get ripping. Now the REVV is Ride1Up's first attempt at getting into the electric moped market. Ride1Up came out swinging with two different models at a very competitive price point. First, the full suspension that you see here today will retail for $2,395, while the hardtail will retail for $1,895. Both of these bikes are not only competitive with price, but when it comes down to power, range, and performance, they aim to be at the top of their class. As we zoom out and take a wider look at the REVV, you'll first notice the motorcycle aesthetic and aggressive frame. The aesthetic and aggressive look of this frame is not only pleasing to the eye, but very pleasing to ride. The overall weight of this bike is 93 pounds with a total weight capacity of 400 pounds. That means this thing can take tight turns at a high rate of speed. Speaking of speed, let's test out the top speed right now. Right now it's the beginning of the day, fully charged. I want to get a 0 to top speed and see what it actually says here on the GPS on my phone. Comparing it to the display, give you guys the best representation. My experience yesterday, I went over 35 miles per hour, but I want to clock it a little bit higher for you guys right now. Let's put the chest cam on and get this. All right, so we have the bike GPS pulled up right now. We're going to do a comparison. I'm going to screen record everything and make sure it's good so that we can kind of compare this on the screen. We're going to hit start, pop that in there, and we are going to get going. Here we go. All right, as you can see there, my top speed was 35.7 miles per hour, averaging 29.3 miles per hour, with a total distance of 2,800 feet in 1 minute and 11 seconds. This thing is really, really fast. I actually had this thing at 38 miles per hour yesterday on this bad boy, but I wanted to do another test here today. Yesterday I had no headwind, but today we're kind of battling the elements. Let's get the rest of this review going right now and give you my unbiased opinion of this bike at the end of this video. Let's go. Now let's talk specs, starting with speed. Out of the box, it comes with a top speed of 26 miles per hour from my test. After unlocking it, I was able to achieve a top speed of 38 miles per hour, but that'll change depending on the rider's weight. Out of the box and in pedal assist level 1, I was able to achieve an average speed of 14 miles per hour, assist level 2, 19 miles per hour, level 3, 24 miles per hour, level 4, 26 miles per hour, level 5, I was able to sustain 26 miles per hour with a lot more torque off the line. After unlocking it, I was able to achieve that averaging speed a lot faster with a lot more torque with a top speed nearing 40 miles per hour. Now that speed and power is able to be achieved with a 750 watt motor with 90 newton meters of torque that has a max output of 1456 watts. That's all matched up with a 52 volt 20 amp hour battery and the 52 volt 28 amp hour controller. The REV1 has some quality parts when it comes to specs, starting with the suspension. The front suspension is a double crowned 120mm of travel air suspension fork with preload, rebound, and a hydraulic lockout. The rear suspension is an air suspension with 80mm of travel, dampening adjustments, and lockout. Now, how many of you guys actually pedal your electric moped around? Like, ever? I never find myself pedaling. I actually find myself getting into a specific gear and staying in that gear just in case I ever do pedal. It's not a bike that's very ergonomically friendly when you're riding them. So with that being said, I think that Ride1Up is being very bold, and I'm cool with it, them doing this single speed system. Now, by single speed, that doesn't mean that this chain's gonna be harder to get off, like if you had a BMX bike and you really had to adjust the wheel. That's not gonna be the case at all. Actually, they thought ahead. They still got the piece there, a little makeshift derailleur to be able to get the wheel off, to be able to take the pressure off that chain. I'm very, very cool with this. I think that all other electric moped bikes should be just like this. Single speed is the way to go. It also makes that handlebar setup so much cleaner. Let's talk about that setup right now. As we move up to the cockpit, you'll notice how clean and simple it is. You're greeted with a comfortable set of grips that have a micro knurling texture to them for added grip. On the right side, you have your hydraulic brake, twist throttle, and controls for headlight, high beam, low beams, turning signals, and horn. On the left, you have your front hydraulic brake and controls for the 3.5-inch display that is centered in the middle of the handlebar. Now, on the very rare occasion you would be pedaling this bike, it comes with a 32-tooth chainring and 127mm crank arms, which are very comfortable with this bike. Most other bikes in this range come with 170mm crank arms, which I think are a little bit overkill for this style of a bike. Now, in my experience, one of the first upgrades people do is a new saddle, but this comes with one of the most comfortable plush saddles I've ever had on an E-Moped. Coupling that with the CST E-Moped all-terrain tires makes for a comfortable yet very grippy ride. All right, so the REV1 has a nice set of hydraulic brakes on here, but we want to see how well these things stop at the top speed that we've achieved today. So we're going to try to get it all the way to that top speed again with this headwind, and we're going to slam on the brakes and see how quick we can come to a complete stop. This thing stops so good. I'm sure that rotor is so hot right now. I started to slam on my brake right about here, so a little bit before this telephone pole. So let's just gauge it right now. We'll start at, I guess, the middle of the back wheel. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. 24 size 11s, all right? 24 size 11s. This isn't a scientific channel by any means, but that's actually a really good stopping distance for 35 miles per hour, which was on the odometer when we did that. And I'm shocked. These tires really grip the pavement very well when it comes to stopping power. I'm pumped on this thing. This thing is so sick. Overall, the REV1 is one of the most solidly built e-mopeds I've featured here on the channel. I absolutely love the minimalistic look, and not to mention the low maintenance with the cast wheels versus spoked wheel. With the range that the REV1 has to offer, between 30 and 60 miles, coupled together with the power and the torque, I do believe it's going to be a heavy contender in the e-moped market. Now, in conclusion of this early access of the Ride1Up REV1, is it going to be able to beat an Ariel rider or a Super 73? Well, that's going to have to be talked about in a later video when we can do a head-to-head comparison of all three of these bikes. But right now it has price, performance, and power. Right now the price is the lowest. The performance is pretty damn high and the power is really high. So if this bike is on your radar, I highly recommend it. This is going to be my go-to bike right now. And all the links in the description below will be able to take you to be able to learn more and more about this bike. So with that being said, if you have any other suggestions or you want to see more of this bike, maybe some more builds on this thing, put the comments below. If you guys like this video, drop a like. If you love it, hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you in the next one.